Aston Martin built a £200,000 track-only motorbike, and it's absolute madness. This is what happens when Aston Martin looks at a superbike and says, no, that's still far too sensible, because this is the Aston Martin X Brough Superior AMB 001 Pro. It has 225 horsepower. It weighs just 175 kilos dry. It's track only 88 are being built. And depending on where you see one advertised, you're looking at the thick end of 200 grand. For a motorbike, you can't even legally ride to the pub. So today, we're looking at one of the maddest luxury motorcycles ever made. Aston Martin design, Brough Superior engineering. Valkyrie AMR Pro inspiration, and a price tag that makes a Ducati Panigale look like a middle aisle special at Aldi. This is the second collaboration between Aston Martin and Brough Superior. The first one was the AMB 001, which was limited to 100 units and sold out. The Pro is a harder, more extreme version. Aston Martin revealed it at the Milan Motor Show in November 2022 and described it as a track-only superbike inspired by the Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro. And that's the key point. It's not really a road bike. This is more like a two-wheeled Aston Martin hypercar experiment. The same sort of thinking that gives you a Valkyrie AMR Pro. No road compromises, no pretending to be practical, no will it fit in a parking space. This is a piece of carbon fibre road art, a collector's object, a track toy, a mechanical sculpture, and probably one of the most ridiculous ways imaginable to turn petrol into adrenaline. Now let's get to the good bit. The AMB 001 Pro uses a 997 water-cooled double overhead cam 88-degree V-twin with 4 valves per cylinder. Aston Martin says it produces 225 horsepower, which is a 25% increase over the earlier AMB 001. 225 horsepower on a motorbike that weighs about as much as 2 large adults. The dry weight is listed at 175 kilograms, giving it a power to weight ratio of around 1.28 horsepower per kilo, something Aston Martin compares to Formula One style territory. That's not normal. That's not a Sunday morning blast to the cafe power. That's hold on properly, or your skeleton may arrive at the next corner before you do. And the engine itself is not just pulled off a shelf. Aston Martin say the new dual-cylinder 997 engine is machined from AL5000 solid billet aluminium with wet cylinder liners to help cooling and improve stiffness. This thing has something that looks like it was carved out of a bank vault. Visually, the AMB 001 Pro is absolutely outrageous. It doesn't look like a normal superbike. It looks like a concept sketch that somehow escaped the design studio and got an engine bolted into it. Do you remember when Jeremy Clarkson said that if the Astra, when it came out, looked anything like the concept Astra, he'd eat his own hair? And then it did, and he had to eat his own hair. Then this looks like it was a concept bike, a mad concept bike, but they've made it. The Aston Martin influence is all over it. Long, low, sculpted bodywork, carbon fibre everywhere, a stretched, futuristic stance, and the kind of front end that looks less like a headlight area and more like an aerodynamic weapon. Brough Superior says the Pro can be had in 2 racing liveries, Aston Martin Verdant Jade with photon lime accents, or Aston Martin Racing Green with lime green accents. Both versions use satin finish carbon fibre and black Cerakote on the engine and suspension. It even gets Aston Martin's ultralight lacewing badge, originally designed for the Valkyrie programme. Aston Martin says that badge is 99.4% lighter than its regular enamel badge and just 70 microns thick. Now, is that necessary? Absolutely not. Is it brilliant? Absolutely yes. Because this is exactly what these machines are about. Nobody buying one of these is saying, I wonder what the luggage capacity is. They're buying the story, the badge, the craftsmanship, the ability to point at it in the garage and say, that's one of 88. The AMB 001 Pro also has proper aero work. Aston Martin says downforce is increased through the front spoiler and side wings, while the front cowl is fixed to the bodywork to help manage downforce at the front end. There's also a tunnel effect air blade that directs air over the rider, plus a rear fin with an aero stabilizer design. In normal English, they've not just made it look mad, they've tried to make the madness work. The bodywork is designed to force air around the bike and rider to help stability at speed, and because it's track only, they don't have to worry about boring things like number plates, indicators, mirrors, or whether the local MOT tester is going to start twitching. This is a motorcycle designed for one environment, a circuit, preferably a very fast one, with lots of runoffs, and possibly a medical team on standby. Underneath the jewellery, the AMB 001 Pro is seriously engineered. The chassis uses a CNC aluminium frame, with the engine acting as a structural part of the bike and a carbon fibre body. The front suspension is a Feo type CNC machined aluminium fork with twin articulated triangular links and an adjustable monoshock. At the rear, there's a CNC machined aluminium swing arm pivoting in the engine crankcases. The brakes are properly serious as well. At the front, it uses twin 320mm stainless steel discs with 4-piston radial calipers. At the back, there's a 230mm disc with a 2-piston caliper. The wheels are carbon fibre too, a 10-spoke carbon front wheel and a carbon fibre disc wheel at the rear. So it's not just a show pony, it's a very expensive, very rare, very dramatic track machine, but it's still a track machine. That distinction matters because for the money you could buy several superbikes, a trailer, a van to tow them, a year of track days, and probably still have enough left for a nervous breakdown and a new set of tyres. But none of those bikes would say Aston Martin on them, and that's the whole point. Now, Brough Superior is not just some random motorcycle company pulled out of a marketing meeting. Brough Superior is one of the great historic names in British motorcycles. Back in the day, they were known as the Rolls-Royce of motorcycles. They were expensive, they were beautifully made, they were bought by people who wanted the best. So Aston Martin partnering with Brough Superior actually makes a lot of sense. Aston Martin is luxury performance on 4 wheels, Brough Superior is luxury performance on 2. It's not Honda meets Halfords, this is Aston Martin meets old money motorcycle aristocracy. And that's why the AMB 001 Pro feels more like a watch, a sculpture and a hypercar than a normal bike. It is engineering as jewellery. It's a motorbike for someone who already has the cars, the watches, the house, the yacht, and now needs something in the garage that makes visitors stop talking. Only 88 examples of the AMB 001 Pro are being produced. Aston Martin confirmed the limit when the bike was revealed, and first deliveries were scheduled for Q4 2023. The number's important because this isn't really a normal buying decision. It's a collector's decision. Limited production, Aston Martin badge, Brough Superior name, track-only status, carbon fibre bodywork, Valkyrie inspired design. That's basically a checklist for wealthy collectors. Reports and listings have put examples around the £200,000 mark, although pricing can vary depending on market, taxes, availability, and whether the seller is feeling especially brave. Here's the funny part. For most normal people, spending this sort of money on a motorbike, you can't ride on the road. Sounds insane. But in the world this thing lives in, that might actually be the attraction. Because it's not transport, it's not practical, it's not sensible, and it's not even trying to be. It's a statement. It says, I wanted an Aston Martin motorbike, and not the normal one. I wanted the unhinged one. Is the AMB 001 Pro worth it as a motorcycle? Again, probably not, if you're measuring it like a normal person. A Ducati Panigale V4R, BMW M1000 RR, Honda Fireblade SP or Aprilia RSV4 factory will give you astonishing performance for a fraction of the price, and you can actually use some of them on the road. But this is like comparing a Rolex Daytona to a Casio, because both tell the time. Technically true, but completely missing the point. The AMB 001 Pro is not about value in the normal sense. It's about rarity, design, brand power, engineering madness, and the sheer excitement of owning a 225 horsepower Aston Martin Superbike built by Brough Superior. This is a motorbike for someone who doesn't ask how much is it. They ask how many are there, and when the answer is 88, you get your debit card out. So there it is, the Aston Martin X Brough Superior AMB 001 Pro, a 225 horsepower carbon fibre track only hyperbike inspired by the Valkyrie AMR Pro, limited to 88 examples. Beautiful, bonkers, completely unnecessary, and that's exactly why it exists. Because sometimes luxury isn't about what you need. It's about what makes absolutely no sense until you see it, and then you suddenly understand. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.